Welcome to Podcast for Fun. This is a show where we dive into the passion, the process, and the journeys of creative storytellers as they bring their stories to life. I'm your host, Sophia, and today we are joined by a talented author and webtoon creator, Sara Bittner. Thank you so much for being here, Sara.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So, let's start with you telling us a little bit about yourself and your works.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm Sarah Bittner. I have four novels out right now. I've written 11, so I definitely have a backlog that I'm trying to get out. I've been writing for like literally my whole life. Like I've just always been in stories inside my head. And I literally finished like my first full-length novel by 13. I would never show that ever to anyone, but it's there, it exists. But I went more the traditional route. I went to college, I did computer science and physics, and then I just kind of realized it wasn't for me. I kept writing books, not through college because that's like too difficult. Like I was stressed. But then 2020 came around and I just like was reevaluating things, reevaluating what I want from life, and started self-publishing on Amazon, which is they have the Kindle Unlimited program, so people can just read your books for free. So I put out a trilogy there, and I really don't know that much about marketing. I'm getting better at it, but my grand idea was I love webtoons. I love reading webtoons, and I was like, I'm gonna make a webtoons. This will be great. People will find my story. I didn't know how to draw at the time, which I was like, minor hiccup. I'll just learn how to draw, which I underestimated drawing completely. That was such a process. I never drew because if I was like chilling in class or something, I was always writing, literally. So I didn't even do stick figures or doodles, anything. It was ground zero. So that was interesting. So then I probably started my webtoons maybe 2022-ish. And then it was very slow growth, especially because the art was rough in the beginning. Now I've released a new book just 2 months ago, and I've started a new webtoons with that. And yeah, I'm more happy with the art now. But it's really cool because the webtoons community as a whole, just like being on Instagram and Twitter at the time back in the day, it was more like a hotspot for webtoons creators. Like they're just so welcoming and they just like take you in. There's all these group chats and everything. So it's been a lot of fun. I really have loved the community of Webtoons creators. So I'm really happy that I made that choice.
I can't believe
Yeah.
you literally learned how to draw to make a webtoon.
It was crazy. And like I didn't even know what I didn't know, right? Like I didn't know how to draw a box or perspective or anything. So the first thing I learned how to draw, I was like, I'm gonna draw people, so I should just learn anatomy. And I just looked up Proko videos. That's what ended up coming on YouTube because I was like, how to draw a person. And so I just started with anatomy, which again is like just crazy. That's not where you should start it off. So I was like trying to learn perspective while trying to learn like the muscles in the arm and stuff. And I was just like, this is fine. Like that little meme, the dog and the fire, like this is fine.
Oh my
So
God.
yeah, it was I definitely have the personality where I always kind of underestimate things, which is good in the sense that I just start learning something and I like just dive into it. And I'm like, it can't be that hard. It'll be fine. And then like once I'm in the midst of it, I'm like, oh, there's a lot to this thing. And
Mm.
then at that point I'm committed, so I just keep going.
So what kind of stories do you typically write?
Um, so I out of the 11 books that I've finished, I have kind of a range of the overall plot. So I have some fantasies, I have some more like, usually there's always a historical vibe though, or a fantasy vibe, but there's always also like a romance that kind of ties throughout it. It's not usually a romance. The last book that I just released is a pure romance. It's a romance between a merman and a lighthouse keeper in the 1800s, and it's just fluff. Like I swear, it's just like this sweet, cute, like adorable little thing, but I don't know where that came from. Like genuinely, it was just like I got inspired by a beach, and then I was just like boom, 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 boom. But normally they're really kind of gritty and serious, and there's death everywhere and bodies, and which the first trilogy that I have out right now is like set in ancient Egypt, where there's these gods of chaos, and they're going to come destroy the world. So you're fighting against different humans, but also different gods. And yeah, just death everywhere. So I like usually playing with trauma a little bit, and I really love the darker emotions. I feel
Mm.
like, yeah, I think that's in some ways what connects us, at least for me, what connects humanity, that we do have like these darker emotions, but then we also have like the good qualities too, and showing both of them within one person.
Mhm.
I don't know if that answers the question fully. They kind of just bounce around. They're all historical. That would be a common tie, probably.
So are
Yeah.
you like a history buff?
Unintentionally, yeah, I think so. Like, I think if I could have done anything in college, I would have done archaeology. Like, I have kind of family pressures, but I think I would have done archaeology because I really love myths and I really love ancient history. And I just like think it's very cool how ancient history is like very similar to us still, like thousands of years later, and we're still all human. And I just think that's really beautiful. I don't know. I love that connecting tie that we still have like the same problems, the same day to day, people are still falling in love, still feeling the same way about each other. It's really cool. Yeah. The same dramas, like between
Yeah.
brother and sister and all that. Yeah. It's
You might just
it's
like,
cool.
oh, at the end of the day, we're still all human, even the people in the
Hmm.
olden times, right?
Exactly. And you look at myths throughout all different cultures, and yeah, there's still like the connecting themes, and it's like we're all just human. And I love that. I think it's so beautiful. So I think that's one
So,
reason I love history.
sorry, out of curiosity, what were you
Mhm.
studying in college or
College.
university?
So I did computer science and physics.
That's different.
Yeah. Yeah, it's different. Yeah, I went in originally thinking I was going to be a doctor, and then I was like, I don't really like school that much. I don't think I want to do school for that long. And so I kind of I kind of come from a family where it's kind of like acceptable professions, and they're going to be like engineer, doctor, lawyer. And if you're not one of those, it's kind of like, ooh, what are you doing with your life kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I was really good at math, and I do find math fun. Like I like calculus. I think it's fun. So my mom kind of was like pushing me towards things. And at first, computer science is fun, but I think like because how I was saying like where I just like dive into a topic, I get bored really easily too. So like computer science at first was like, yeah, this is so much fun. And then later I was like, it just feels like arbitrary, I think, because it was kind of created by people. So I don't know. It just became very repetitive to me. It was like, yeah, we're solving different problems because I had multiple internships and then a job in computer science. And it's like, yeah, technically, like I did a bunch of different things. I did like satellite internet. I worked for a bank. Um, and then I did like defense stuff. And like all of it's very different, like scope. And yet I still felt like I was doing the same thing. So I was just like, yeah, I don't know. It felt very stagnant. And physics is more fun to me, but you have to get like a doctorate really to do a lot with it. I got to do a little bit with it in some of the things, but not as much. Yeah, which most people don't expect that with writing, but I just am very curious as a person, I think.
Why do you think that it felt very stagnant despite doing a lot of different things?
Because the code at the end of the day is still pretty much the same kind of like logical thinking that you have to put in. And this was like before Chat GPT was like able to write code for people. So I don't even know how it would be now. But yeah, it's still very much like, if you want to do something again and again, you're going to have your loops and your if and else statements. So you're very much still like thinking in the same process of how. And so things in the back end of computer science end up looking really the same, even when the front process is very different.
Have you ever heard the term, not the term, like the concept that, people who like to draw struggle with math and people who are good at
Oh,
art. So
interesting.
clearly you didn't have that because good at both them.
I swear, it's so funny when I first started drawing. I remember talking to my mom once and I said to her, I'm like, this is harder than quantum mechanics. Like, genuinely, this is the hardest thing I've ever done. Like, because I was doing the anatomy and I was like doing perspective, and I'm like, this body, you're like rotating it in 3D space and you have to like know what it's doing. Like, this is so difficult. And oh my gosh, yeah, I was surprised. I think especially because my family is that way, where they kind of look down on art in general, that I was just so surprised how difficult art is and how much goes into it. I was like, wow. Like in my mind, I was just like, you're just an artist. And like, I didn't even realize that people would sketch. Like that's how little I knew about art. Like I knew nothing. I knew nothing at all. So like I thought you just were a good artist and you just put the paper down and you were like drawing. So I
I
don't
wish.
know. It was such a struggle, right? I know. It was actually good for perfectionism because I was like, oh look, like I get to like try line, nah, try line, and kind of make like micro mistakes that
Yeah.
were difficult for me mentally at first. Because yeah.
So you're a perfectionist? Or
Yeah,
you
I'm
are?
trying not to be. I'm trying not to be. Definitely raised to be a perfectionist, trying not to be perfect. I have like two sides of me. I have like this very chill, I just want to write, I want to be in the nature, I want to be in waterfalls, like just vibes. And then I have
Mm-hmm.
this other part of me that's like perfection, perfection. You have to get a, in college especially, you have to get 100. And 98 sucks. You have to get 100. And oh, it's exhausting to live like that, genuinely. And then when you get to writing and you get to art, like that doesn't exist. Like there's nothing to be like, this is perfect because it's
Yeah.
always so like subjective. And even with like the book ratings coming in, like I got a bunch of fives at first and I was like, whoa, this is great. And then I got some fours and I had to mentally be like, Sarah, that's still a good rating. Calm down. Like that's good rating. Because I think that just like that perfectionism kicks in. You're just like, oh my gosh. But everyone has different perspectives that they come in when they're reading your story. So like there's no book on earth that's going to be everyone's five ever. Some people are
Mm-hmm.
just going to obsess about it and some people are going to hate it. There's just no in between, which is a cool part about art. You don't get that in some of the, math. This is the answer. It's very like cut and dry and
Mm-hmm.
it's fun. I like it. It goes with my personality better. I want to be that way, like chill and vibes and
Yeah, I
yeah,
can tell because you're chilling and talking
chill
right
and
now.
vibes. Yeah.
So I have a question.
hmm
What would you want to accomplish with your comics if you have like no limits, like ideally, or with your stories, I'd say?
And my stories. I would love to just be like a best-selling author where people are like, "Oh my gosh, she released a new book. Ah, that's so cool. Let's go read it." Um, I feel like with webtoons it's harder because like I don't know. It's definitely my secondary thing. I just love being in the community with webtoons. But it would be so cool like if it got like recognized and I think if it ended up becoming big though, I probably would get an artist. I don't know if I would keep doing the art because webtoons take so much time. So like I know like webtoons originals, it's like 40, 60 panels a week and I'm like there's no way. I don't have that in me. I'm not that much. I'm an artist, but I'm like more like I fully render each panel, which is kind of crazy.
I do that
So like
too.
yeah, nice, nice. Yeah, but it takes so much more time, isn't it? Like, yeah.
Mm.
I see why people don't. So that would definitely be my goal, is just like books take off. Honestly, that would be like the dream, right? Like a baby version of that dream would just be able to like live off my writing in this comfortable way that I could like be somewhere that I could be around nature and just be outside. I like to write outside, so that's why I keep
What were
saying
you?
nature. Specific.
Oh, sorry. Keep going, keep going.
Oh, I was gonna
I
say
just feel like
specifically like
no,
water.
I accidentally hear like nothing, and then I hear it sound. I'm like, oh, oops, she's still talking. I can't.
Oh, sorry. Is it coming through enough? Are we good?
No, it's coming through. Just
Okay.
sometimes when you speak quietly, it dies a
Oh,
little.
I see. I got you.
So keep going, keep going. When you say about t writing
Okay.
in nature, I want to hear more about
Oh,
it.
writing in nature, specifically just water in general. I'm really inspired by like the ocean or waterfalls, stuff like that. Just instant creativity.
Why do you think that?
Um, I don't know. I think they kind of give me different creativity. There's something nice about the sound for both of them, obviously. But on top of that, there's something just really like free about a waterfall. It's just like roaring and it's powerful and it's just like the trees are blowing. It's kind of just a whole experience, which I love. You're getting the mist in your face and you know, it's just lovely. And then the ocean, I think there's something about there's the sound and the seagulls and everything, but you also have that like vastness of it, right? It's just like this endless expanse of just, I don't know. It almost becomes like a friend in a way, which is crazy. I kind of wrote the last book, The Lighthouse Keeper and the Mermaid one, as
Mhm.
if like the lighthouse and both the ocean kind of were their own characters in of themselves. Just because like to me the setting of the ocean is just like it's just this magical kind of thing. I don't know. But
No, I get what you mean. It's like, mermaids, Little Mermaid, and have you ever watched the new Avatar movie from James Cameron? Like the water
I
effects are
haven't
insane.
watched the second one. I keep saying with my one friend, he's like, we're gonna do a movie night.
It's so good. Like the water effects, James Cameron spent like 10 years to make it as realistic and beautiful as he possibly can. So it looks absolutely
Hmm.
amazing.
Even that first one was just gorgeous, like visually. It was stunning. Like so
Hmm.
much effort. Yeah. And actually would be really interesting to go back and even watch the first one now that I do art. Because back then I didn't. It would be cool to like look at it like artistic eye now and be like, wow,
If
all the
you had
rules
to
and stuff.
choose, what would be the like your favorite fictional story? Like it can be a movie, it can be a book, anything.
Ooh. Ooh, that's difficult. Um, okay. It's funny when you first said that actually webtoons popped to mind. So like definitely I have a favorite webtoons. That's called Mystic Prince. I think it's just gorgeous. The plot had me like emotional. Like just kept me on the edge of my seat. The art was gorgeous.
What was it about?
10 out of 10. It's about so it's like the emperor has like divine powers that he's protecting the world from demons. And then every 1,000 years or something, there's like a trial of princes, and only the princes have special powers. And whoever wins all the trials ends up getting to be the emperor, and the emperor ascends into godhood. And you're following the fourth prince, who's actually a woman who has to pretend to be a prince because women aren't allowed to compete in the trials. So it's that, and then there's also some slow burns between her and one of the princes and her servant as well. So
Mm.
it ends up being, there's like that hidden identity, but there's also the struggle of her having to kind of go through all this and like to extreme lengths, right? Like she cuts off her breast, like she's really trying to,
She cuts
yeah,
off her breast?
she does. She has to because she starts developing. And she's like, I can't let anyone find out. Like that was
God.
like you get flashbacks, right? You get flashbacks of her trauma, and I'm like, it's not like a happy story, but it's not a happy story. There's a happy ending. It's nice. But
Mm.
yeah, she goes to really extreme lengths to try to prove that she can. So I love that. Um, it's gorgeous art too. At first I wasn't sure about like the way they did their faces, but the lighting, I'm so glad I gave it a chance. Like, how, like, I don't know if you ever read a webtoon and at first you're like, I don't know about this art style. And then by like chapter 10, you forgot about that and you just love it.
Yeah,
So
yeah, 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 yeah.
it was
The
like that.
story wins me most of the time. Like the art can suck and I'll tolerate it, but if the story sucks, I can't keep reading.
That is exactly it. 100%. Yeah. Yeah. Because even like sometimes you'll see like the most beautiful art and then like the story is just confusing. You're like, I don't know what's happening. Yeah, I can't go through.
I'm
Yeah.
like, "Ah, I've had enough Duke of the blah 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 and the triple triple. I'm like,
10 words long. The Northern Duke. Da, 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 da. Yeah.
and it's like the whole like that paragraph like my father sent me blah 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 fake politics. I'm like, I don't care and I don't know what's going on. Like
There's always like,
what
I
did he
reincarnated as the da, 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 da. And it's like,
the
yeah.
billionth time? Like, why is this so popular? I don't understand.
Yeah. I'm a sucker for the reincarnation one sometimes. If it's like revenge stories, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
let's go. Yeah. But I think overall, so back to the question, the overall, I think that maybe my favorite movie is probably Moulin Rouge, just because it was like the movie I watched when I was a child all the time. So,
Hmm. What's it
um,
about?
that one, it's like set in maybe like 1800s Paris, and he wants to be a writer, ironically, and he goes to Paris to try to like discover the dream because it's where all the romance is happening and all the bohemian like revolution, and he ends up falling in love with a prostitute who is dying of consumption. It's a tragedy. It's a real tragedy, but it's really beautiful. It's really beautifully shot. It's actually a musical, and yeah, it's tragic. I love tragedies, but like I grew up
I
on
guess I could tell.
tragedies. Yeah.
What do you mean you grew up on tragedies? Like you watched a lot of tragedy
Yeah,
movie?
I did watch a lot of tragedies growing up, which is interesting. I don't know. Like that I'd watched multiple times a year when I was a little kid. And then also like Titanic. There was one called Oh my gosh. Somewhere in Time. That one my mom would watch a lot. And it's so funny because I loved Somewhere in Time when I was little. And I told my friend, we started doing movie nights like once a week. And I was like, this is a great movie. Like she loves tragedy too. Moulin Rouge was one of her favorites. And I was like, you're gonna love it. And then I watched it again and I was like, oh, that didn't age well. Like it's from the 80s. And like when I was a little kid, I didn't know. But literally she's like, no, she tells him no, like leave me alone. He doesn't leave her alone. He follows her everywhere. He shows up in her hotel room without her knowing, and then he grabs her from behind even, and it's just like it's not even a dark romance or anything. It's supposed to be this sweet romantic, like he'll never give up. And I'm like, oh, like 6-year-old me did not see that this was problematic, but he's in her hotel room grabbing her from behind. She doesn't know he's gonna be there. I was
Mm.
like, oh girl, I'm sorry. But that's a tragedy too. So yeah.
So I can tell you're like into romance as well, not just tragedy.
That's true. That's true. They were all romances. I guess like my mother was just always watching those. She always watched like the 1930s, 1940s movies too that were usually tragedies and romances. So I definitely grew up that way. And I think like books that I like, books that were kind of formative. Um, there was this one author, Cinda William Chima. So when I was like first writing, like maybe I was like 11, I started doing fan fiction. And I was always doing first person. My first two books are in first person. And then I just was always kind of like this, I don't know how to switch. Like if I want to like go and show someone else doing something else, like I never loved the whole like POV change where you like say the person's name at the top.
Mm.
So her books, this sounds like a crazy tangent. I swear it was
Right.
related. Her books are in third person, but they're like limited third person where you still get the emotions. And I think like she does that where there's always a romance kind of throughout it, but it's not like the primary plot. And I just fell in love with that concept. So I think for me too, it's always like there's always a romance, but it's not always the plot. But
Yeah.
it's always like there and it's always very present and it's always, yeah, usually a
So
slow burn.
do you feel that your real life romance contributes to your written romance?
Um, no.
Why
Yeah,
not?
no. Um, this is really ironic, but I'm just like not that romantic of a person. Yeah, I
What?
yeah, I get asked out a
How
lot. I
would
just
you?
don't like feel attraction very often, like ever. Like it's very rare. It only happens on occasion. So I'll get asked out a lot. I'm always like, eh. Or like it will be the kind where I don't know we're dating and he's told everyone we're dating and we're hanging out and I think we're friends. And then like months in, it's like, oh, we were dating. Like this one guy, he was like, he basically asked me to marry him, and I was like, what are you doing? What are you saying? Yeah, so I don't think so. I wish I could have like this grand romantic story, but I kind of have just little like, oh God,
How did you meet your boyfriend out of curiosity?
I am single right now.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you said you had my bad. I thought you said you had a boyfriend
Oh.
earlier.
No, no, I don't. No, yeah, no, people were telling like I had two separate guys do that to me where like they told other people we were dating and they didn't tell me. I was like, oh, um, which is crazy, honestly. So, yeah, there's usually
So
people around. There's just not usually like, yeah.
when you write, what
Mm.
kind of writer are you? Are you someone who like plans out your stories and then you write, or do you just like write on the whim as you go?
I guess you could probably say it's writing on the whim. I usually know the main points. So like I'll have this like aha moment where I'm like, oh, there's the ending. And then I like in my mind know the whole book, and then I will go to write it. And I don't, it's kind of weird. I kind of just see it in my head like a movie, and then I just write it down. And I, even when I'm writing it down, I kind of don't feel like I'm writing it. Like I don't feel like I'm picking specific words. It just feels like I'm just writing what already exists. It's like, whoosh. It's like being possessed.
No, no,
So
I get what you I get
yeah,
what you
it's really freeing. I love it. Um, yeah, outlines stress me out. Yeah, even in school. Like if there was ever a requirement for an outline, I would
Hmm.
write the paper and then I'd write the outline because I just can't do it. I
Bro.
know. I know, it's bad.
How do you keep yourself motivated to finish a book?
To me, writing is just like such a part of my being that when I'm not writing, it almost feels like a backup, like a build up. So for me, it's like what I do for fun. It's like what I want to be doing at all times. So usually, as long as I'm any kind of relaxed, it's just there. And I'm like, oh, finally, I get to write. It's the other stuff, like the marketing and it's like the marketing and then like putting the cover together, all that kind of stuff, the editing that I really have to like push through and be like, oh my gosh, I don't want to be doing this right now. I want to be writing.
How do you deal with it? Like, how do you go about marketing?
Right now, I do TikToks, I do threads. So, and I have an Instagram. I don't The Instagram is more for the art, honestly, at this point. It's more for the webtoons. So for TikTok, it's kind of like twice a day, just a post that's like, you know, just a little clip it, fall in love with a mermaid or, POV, you have fallen in love with a merman in the 1800s and you don't speak the same language, blah, 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 blah. And just like little things like that. And then it's been working, which is great. The other books, it doesn't work that much, but people definitely gravitated more towards just the pure romance, which like
Mm.
unfortunate for me, but because that's not my normal shtick, but like worked out for this book.
Yeah, no, I get what you mean because I also don't write any romance. Actually, like mine is
Mm.
zero. So it's very hard to
Mm.
put it when when Webtoon is a very romance-centric
Yes, it
platform,
is.
right?
Yeah. Did you like ever consider putting romance in it, or you just like you have like your idea of a story? I read the first like chapter or two, so I saw her like she like disappeared and yeah, it was
Well,
interesting.
I usually am not a huge fan of romance. I'm a
Mm.
huge fan of reading romance, definitely not a huge fan of writing romance.
Mm.
And if it were for me, I don't think I would ever put romance in my stories.
Okay.
But my co-writer, loves to put romance in the story, and it's actually me who cuts it out because I feel like like for example, there's like a story about a guy who, falls asleep and kills his tormentors in his dream, and then he finds out that those people are dying for real or something along those
Mm.
lines.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
that's a little vague.
I
It's
like it.
very, very vague storyline. Basically, he wanted like this girl that will like ease him, because he's having all these traumas, and I kind of cut her out because I didn't like it. I feel like I wanted the main focus because when you read a story or when you watch a movie, there's only so many things you can concentrate on. So if you have
That's very
like
true.
more than like two things you're focusing on, I feel like it doesn't go in depth enough to all the problems.
Hmm.
I don't
It's
like
very true.
adding like and then there's a romance. I'm like, okay, we don't need the and then there's a romance. We can just focus on the main issue.
It's so true. Yeah, because when you do see an action movie or something, the romance is so pushed to the side, it might as well not even be there. It's just basically like, oh, she really likes me, sex. That's like
Yeah,
it.
I'm like, why do you need to do that? I don't need to do that. And but I do like slow burn romances, but that those stuff you watch it just for the romance. That's like the main thing, and nothing else matters. Like I'm like, I don't
Hmm.
care about the subplot about having a maid cafe, bro. I just want to watch the two people fall in love.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
I don't care if a restaurant goes down. Like that's not my that's not
Right.
why
It's
I'm
in the way.
yeah, that's not what I'm here for. So
Hmm.
that's
Yeah.
how I feel.
Honestly, I appreciate that because I think that too, like it gets clouded even. And it makes it hard to market because I would say even with the Egyptian one, because it was like such a big story, there was like the overarching villain. Then each book had two villains. They had a god villain and a human villain. And then throughout the whole entire thing, there was a slow burn. So it's like, okay, what part do I advertise? It's like hard to just condense it versus just like, this is the story. It goes much better. It's like just clear and focused, and people know what they're gonna get. And yeah, it's good.
I think it depends on what kind of audience you want. If you want an audience who likes romance and you want to write a lot of romance, then you can go for the romance. But if you want an audience who wants to read God, your like
Exciting,
other
yeah,
twist
exactly.
on your stories, and I think you should focus on that. I think I'm purposefully avoiding romance because I don't want a bunch of romance lovers to come to me and be like, why don't you write romance?" I'm like, because I don't. Like, why?
Hmm.
This is
Hmm.
not. this my stories are not for you, most likely. Because everyone, you can't please everyone with your stories.
No, yeah, you can't. Definitely.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
What would you say your pet peeves are when you're writing or when you're reading stories or reading movies? You see something like, oh my God, like why does this happen all the time?
For me, it's like a logical inconsistency where it's just like, what? What? So I really struggle if that starts to happen. And like I can think of comics right away that I'm like, I just don't want to say it just in case those people ever like
I
where
guess
it's
that's
just like,
what happened
what
in
was it?
those what happened in
Oh
those
no.
comics.
No, because like it's too specific. Like one was literally like they called the cops and then they took the person back to their house and they never told them that they were going to the house. They just hung up on the cops and then the cops showed up at their door and I was just like, I can't do it. You didn't even like you didn't tell the cops, you just left and somehow they magically appeared. It's like little things like that where it's just like the editor side of me just kind of like jumps and it's like, no, it doesn't make sense. Yeah, that would be my biggest pet peeve. I don't know if I really have another pet peeve actually. Yeah, it's like my main one. It's like my main and only one because I'm pretty lenient. I like try to be really supportive of the Webtoons Canvas creator community too. So I've read like, I don't know, probably maybe like 100 of them. And yeah, that's the only thing that ever like stops me. Like I can do bad art. I can
Mhm.
even do a story that I don't like necessarily vibe with. Because I'll be like, I can still appreciate all the hard work that went into it. I can still like see the person in it, and I know the person going into it. And I'm like, I'm so proud of you for doing this. This was such hard work. That's the only thing where I'm just like, no, I was struggling. Yeah.
Do you have a job that you do on the side and then do you up to the side? Is what I'm
Mm,
assuming.
not right now. Yeah. So my health has been really bad, and right now it's just the writing. So, which is, I mean, I'm not quite making enough for that to be sustainable at the moment. The goal is that, it's upward tracking. So the goal is
Yes.
that that would just keep upward tracking so that I can get to that point. So we'll see. Fingers crossed. I mean, seems possible. It's just it's just getting there. The artist dream. I guess, but I always have the computer science and stuff to fall back on.
Mhm.
Um, Obviously stuff is a little bit different now, but yeah, there's certain things that AI and stuff would not have affected.
So what's like your next step now for with the writing and the webtoon?
So I have a backlog of 7 books that I need to get out. So I'm hoping to get one of those out by the fall. So I have to like finish editing it and get my ARC readers together, which is advanced reader copies. So you like send it to people. They read it ahead of time and then they review it. So I have to do that. That ended up taking me quite a bit of time with the last book. So that's probably gonna be at least a month or so. And then I have probably like 40 plus stories in my head. So probably 5 or 6 of those are like at least halfway, if not more, written down. So I need to
Mhm.
finish at least one of those. I'm mostly done one book right now. So I'll probably, fingers crossed that my creativity doesn't bounce to the next one, but probably hopefully finish that one. And yeah, just keep going in a cycle of like getting the backlog out, making more backlog, getting the backlog out. Yeah, that would
How
be
do
the
you
goal.
stay like consistent and like motivated when you're writing?
Um, Yeah, so it's hard sometimes when I get stuck in a specific book. Usually that means like something was just not right. I have to go back and like figure out what was wrong. That is the hardest part for me. That's where usually when something is wrong, it's usually because I started forcing the writing where I wasn't like seeing it anymore. I was just kind of like, oh, I have to get a certain amount of pages done or I'm falling behind or whatever. So usually I just have to like let myself relax and not put pressure on the writing, and that's lets the writing write. But the the part where I get have to like actually like just really work up motivation is for the editing. And honestly, it got to the point where I was doing those timers where you're like 20 minutes on, 5 minutes off, 20 minutes on, 5 minutes off, just so it's like just you can do it. Just sit down, focus. Like I do editing for other people too. So it's like I can do it. Just need to like it down and do the editing because it's not
Mhm.
always, especially when it's your own, it's not always the most fun process. It's less it's less emotional or difficult when it's somebody else's. You're like, da, 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 da.
When do you do the editing for other people? What do you mean by that?
I have some people that are also indie authors that have like hired me to edit parts of their books at different times. So yeah, just because honestly, it was just because they were friends and stuff that the one like kind of asked me, the other one, I was like, just FYI, that's a comma splice. I was trying to be, nice, and they were like, what? I don't know what that is. And so I started talking to them about grammar, and then at some point they're like, can you edit? I was like, yeah, sure, I like this story. Let's go. Yeah. It's not out yet, but she's kind of doing she wants hers is like a 7 or 8 book series, and she's getting to the
Mhm.
point where she wants to finish all of them before she puts out any of them in case she has to change things. And so she's been going back and changing stuff. So I'm on pause right now with my edits just in case she changes things.
Did you study
Okay.
writing?
I did not. I've studied writing so I had some very strict teachers growing up that actually gave us like the grammar work, like books
Mhm.
of the APL stuff. So a lot of those with like clauses and all of those like weird technicalities, I did learn really young, which worked out. And then I think so I did fan fiction when I was maybe 11 and 12, maybe 13. So that was really good because you get that instant feedback. So if there's ever a problem, people will let you know, and then you like can go look it up. And I think too, because I'm just very much always Googling things and always questioning things. Like I've read so many grammar things now that I feel confident.
Wait, what do you mean like grammar things? Like what's one thing that you learned that you feel you use the most?
So I'm like I use and abuse phrases like clauses, like grammatical ones. So like dashing down the hallway, she threw da 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 da. I use like those kind of phrases a lot. And just like the punctuation and stuff behind that, that was something that I was actually I asked there's a grammar site on Reddit and I'd be like, does the does the comma go here or here? Like there was so many times where and then people would send you, this is the Garon phrase and this is this phrase and this is, and you just start getting used to them like, okay. And I also think one thing that's important for editing for me was it's an important thing for everyone because like my people I edit for too is just like not assuming that the person's in your head. So you know what's happening, but not necessarily everyone else knows what's happening. So I got to the point where I was like, okay, it would like this person, I have a person in my mind, would this person be confused by what I've written? Yes or no? And if the question's like even maybe yes, then I'm like, okay, let me just like reword this sentence so that it can be easier, that there's no question of what's going on. Because like sometimes I got a little too crazy with the phrases. There's too many. It was like getting messy, and it wasn't
Mhm.
always like clear, straight lines of where we're
Mhm.
going. So that was something that I definitely had to work on and learn.
So I have one last question for you.
Yeah.
What's one advice you give to the aspiring storytellers watching this right now?
Let's see. I think in general, like I think don't be afraid to try new things, especially like with me learning drawing. But also just like be very kind to yourself when you're learning new things and that it's a really long process because I think it seems like a lot of people, I know I do, have it in their mind that you'll just like publish and like everyone will find you. And that's not necessarily the case. Like it takes so much to build a community around yourself and to get people interested in your story because there's so many people out there creating really great things. There's so much great stuff out there. So to find people to read your story, like just don't get discouraged. They're out there. People are gonna love it. If you love it, other people are gonna love it. And then like also maybe if you are learning something new, like I think a lot of people just go like, I can't draw. I suck at drawing. Like I think everyone can learn everything. That's in my mind. And I think that's why I just try a bunch of stuff. Like you are 100% able to do it. It just you need to break it down and just realize that you're going to suck in the beginning. And like you're going to suck for a while. You're going to suck at marketing. You're going to suck at like for me, comic pacing was really hard. Converting the books to the comics I botched that in the first comic. I really think I did. I was like used to writing where, you can cover really fast, but in the comic, all of a sudden I was like, well, I have to get everything in from the book. No, it's too slow. That's too slow for a comic. Like, so even like pacing, angles, like it's all gonna suck at first, but like that's part of the process, and then you get better. So yeah, just like optimism in the in spite of yourself would be my advice. And like know it gets better. You're gonna find your people.
You're gonna have to try, like, you can't expect to be perfect from the beginning, right?
Yeah, exactly. I for my first webtoons, I had 9 months where I only had 30 subscribers. Like it's going to suck at first. Yeah.
Mhm, me too. I had like 50 subscribers until like episode 10, and then it was like 1,000. I was like, oh,
Nice.
nice.
Wow, that's a massive jump.
I
That's
know,
very cool.
right? And I have
That's
like,
very cool.
I actually have like fans who like text me. I'm like, oh, can't respond to all of them.
Mhm. That's
Especially with the
awesome.
podcast, because now I think I have like almost 4,000 subscribers as of this recording. Almost
Hmm.
4,000. So
That's
now I
awesome.
actually get like genuine comments. And I saw like one of my videos getting like, you know how they like break it apart into sections? I'm like, who did
Mhm.
this? Like, I
That's so
appreciate it.
cool. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's very cool because I think when I signed up, which was a while ago,
Oh
because
yeah.
Ash told me about you, and she's like, "It was so much fun. Like, do the podcast." And I was like, "Okay, I'll do it." Yeah, I think you were under 1,000 back then. You were exploding.
I know.
That's
I think it's
awesome.
because I'm actually finally talking to um like I went to Comic-Con and I basically asked everyone there to be like, excuse me, do you wanna get my podcast? Right?
Ah,
And then
that's very cool.
I got like some people who work for Marvel and DC and like write Batman, Spider-Man stuff, and I those
That's
people are
very cool.
genuine like real professional fans, right? So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
then this they have connections where they meet. There's like some awesome voice actors for like anime and stuff, and they also want to get my podcast. I'm like, oh, this is like,
Ah, that is so cool. That's so
thank you.
cool.
So yeah, you're like honestly this way, even though it was a long time, it was a long wait, and
I
you
mean,
will
part of
have.
that was me. Part of that was the fire alarm going off and everything.
But thankfully, now I have more subscribers and more people see this episode, and more people will hopefully read your stuff, you know?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Well, that's a wrap for today's episode of Podcast for Fun. Thank you so much, Sarah, for joining us and sharing your incredible insights.
Well, thank you for having me. Thank you. It was fun.
And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with fellow storytelling enthusiasts. And if you have any questions or topics you'd like me to explore, you can drop them in the comments or connect with me on any of my social medias. And before I forget, Sarah, please tell everybody where they can find you and your work.
Oh, yeah. You can find me on Instagram is my main one. So Sarah Bittner author. That's Sarah with no H. So Sara Bittner, Bittner author. That would be my main one.
And
Yeah.
your work? Like Webtoon?
Oh, and my work. Yeah, my webtoons now is The Lighthouse Keeper and the Mermaid. It's by Little Bit on Webtoons, and my book, same name, The Lighthouse Keeper and the Mermaid by Sarah Bittner. And then the Egyptian trilogy is called Child of Ra. R.A.
Okay.
Just Child of Ra. Yeah.
And you can probably find them in the description as well, because I'm going to put it in there.
Perfect. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. Until next time, keep
Until next.
creating, keep dreaming, and we'll see you on the next episode of Podcast for Fun.